You ever stop to think that maybe the Bible skipped something important, not because it failed, but because not everything was included? Enoch, the man who walked with God and disappeared, is mentioned in just a few verses. But what those verses don't say is what shocks the most, or better, what reveals the most. Hidden outside the canon, the Book of Enoch describes a war in heaven, angels falling from desire, giants devouring humans, and a prophet who saw it all before judgment fell on the world. This isn't fiction. This is a forgotten revelation, avoided, and maybe even suppressed. Why was this book left out? What exactly did Enoch see in the heavens? And more importantly, why is his message more relevant now than it was 4,000 years ago? In today's video, you're going to discover what the Bible doesn't tell you about Enoch and why it could completely change your view of the end times. No one expects to be chosen for something that defies everything they know, and neither did Enoch. He was an ordinary man with ordinary worries until God called him to see what no one else had ever seen. His heart trembled, not out of fear, but out of reverence. Being a messenger of the invisible isn't about glory. It's about carrying truths the world might never accept. When Enoch agreed to write all he would be shown, he wasn't just opening a scroll, he was opening a portal between heaven and earth, the eternal and the now. Writing might seem mundane, but not when you're recording the voices of angels and the judgments of God. Enoch realized that divine knowledge was power and a heavy responsibility. And no, his calling didn't come with applause or followers. It came with silence, solitude, and faith. Being a prophet means walking against the current, often alone. But it was in that silence between him and God that a legacy was born. A legacy that would echo through millennia. There was a time when angels were just meant to watch, sent to protect and guide. They were heaven's emissaries, but watching turned to wanting. The watchers descended to earth and took human women for themselves. That's where the sacred crossed the line into forbidden. The fall didn't begin with war. It began with desire. Their union gave birth to the Nephilim, massive giants with unquenchable appetites. They didn't just consume food, they consumed peace, order, and everything in their path. Imagine being so large and destructive that the earth itself cried out. It was an invasion of chaos. Azazel taught men to forge weapons. Semjaza revealed forbidden spells, and humanity. It embraced the darkness as if it were light. Enoch watched the unraveling of creation with grief. But what came next would show him heaven wasn't going to let this continue unchecked. Not every sin goes unanswered. When the archangels saw the blood, the corruption, and the suffering below, they intervened. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel stepped in, not with rage, but with justice. God sent his response, judgment. Azazel, who introduced bloodshed to mankind, was buried in darkness beneath sharp stones. Semjaza and the others were bound for 70 generations. And Enoch? He wrote every detail. He wasn't just a prophet, he was heaven's scribe, a witness to divine retribution. The scariest part, there was no mercy. The angels pleaded for forgiveness. God stayed silent, not out of cruelty, but because their betrayal was absolute. They didn't just corrupt flesh, they corrupted purpose. But the visions were only beginning. The next would take Enoch deeper. Being shown heaven might sound glorious, until you're also shown hell. Enoch saw both. He walked through chambers of peace, rivers of fire, and places where the dead waited. The righteous rested in light. The wicked groaned in torment. He saw a throne of fire, surrounded by thousands of angels. He saw books opened, every deed recorded. Justice wasn't random, it was perfect. Enoch realized nothing is hidden. Then came the warning. A final judgment was coming, and no one, not even angels, would escape it. But there was more. God had deeper truths to reveal, and he would do so through 3 prophetic parables. The first parable showed the righteous shining like the sun and the wicked cast into darkness. The second revealed the Son of Man, the eternal judge, enthroned in glory. Kings, rich and poor, all stood before him. None could hide. The third parable displayed the restored kingdom of God, the world made new, the wicked erased, the righteous walking in peace. It wasn't just prophecy, it was destiny. Enoch saw all this and understood. The plan wasn't just to punish evil, but to restore justice. Still, God wasn't done. He wanted to show Enoch something hidden in the very movements of creation. Guided by Uriel, Enoch observed the sun, moon, and stars, but not just as lights, as obedient servants. They moved with precision. Seasons followed cycles. Celestial bodies obeyed commands that mankind had long forgotten. The sun never deviated. The moon completed its course faithfully. Yet man, created with free will, chose rebellion. Even the stars testified against human disobedience. Enoch was warned, in the last days, people would corrupt even time. Calendars altered, truth distorted, but just as the stars stayed on course, so would God's justice. And the timeline was already unfolding. Then came a vision like no other. Mankind appeared as animals, bulls, sheep, wolves, Adam, Seth, Noah, each portrayed symbolically. Enoch saw corruption spread. Strange creatures emerged, and then a flood. Noah was shown as a radiant lamb, chosen to preserve the seed of righteousness. The ark wasn't just a boat, it was a mercy vessel. After the flood, he saw nations form, languages divide, and prophets rise. But one thing remained clear: judgment would always follow rebellion. And the timeline? It was broken into 10 prophetic weeks. Each week revealed a phase in human history, from Adam's creation to the giving of the law, the rise of kings, the exile, the coming of the Messiah, the flourishing of righteousness, and finally, the judgment and the new earth. Enoch saw everything from Genesis to Revelation long before the Bible was complete. It was a timeline written in divine ink, a roadmap that proved God sees all, allows much, but in the end, he restores everything. And now, Enoch had one final message to deliver. Enoch didn't write just for his time, he wrote for ours. His words were a warning to sinners and a blessing to the righteous. Live in truth, he pleaded. Stay on the path. He described the reward of the faithful: peace, eternal joy, divine presence, and the end of the wicked: torment, oblivion, regret. Not to scare, but to awaken. He knew dark days would come, that the wicked would appear to thrive, but their time limited, God's justice inevitable. And then came the child who would carry the next chapter of redemption. Lamech saw his newborn and trembled. The child radiated light, hair white, eyes shining. He wasn't normal. Enoch knew this was Noah, the one who would survive the flood. God revealed the plan, a cleansing of the earth. Noah would be the remnant. Enoch, once again, received it all in faith. Knowing his time was up, Enoch gathered his family, gave them wisdom, spoke with love, and then he vanished. Taken. No grave, no goodbye, just a man who walked with God until God walked him home. Now that you know what the Bible doesn't say, or maybe chose not to emphasize, about Enoch, the real question is, what will you do with it? Will you scroll past this as if it was just another story? Or will you look deeper? What if Enoch's revelations are unfolding right now? Would you even notice? If this stirred something in you, leave a comment below. What part spoke to your spirit? And if you want to keep diving into mysteries like this one, subscribe and activate notifications, because the secrets of the ages were never meant to stay hidden forever.